Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the Unfiltered or the Journey Unfiltered by Lindsey. I'm super excited about this week because this week really was the turning point for me in network marketing, in direct sales. And so I was really excited about tonight and getting to come on here and talk about it. As y'all all know, we've obviously uh, are still winning in this company. Like when I sit here and I literally just jumped out of the bathtub and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I have been with Lavelle for over 11 and a half years, and I'm giddy tonight to find out what this is, what all the things are, just a few little beta testers um, that have their product. I'm like, hello, I'm here for it. I'm here for whatever it is. And it's just exciting. And that's something that it's awesome that that's happening tonight because it's a huge reminder of why this week is so important to me on this particular unfiltered journey part for me. And I told y'all last week that I had earned the trip to Cabo. I had several team members that got to go. It was at a small resort. I think, like I said, it was 150 people, which meant 75 earned it, and then they had their 75 guests. So I wish that on our team page that you could go back and watch live videos from 100 years ago because I sat on the beach the day before this getaway was over, and I had the girls that were there with me, and we talked about the Obtainable Millionaires Club. And like when I was sitting on that beach, I never even thought twice that that was even an option. Like I never, obviously we can't live without money, but hearing the word millionaire, hearing the word million can make that kind of money. I didn't even think twice about it. Like I just was like, okay, that's great. And when it happens, great. But I remember sitting on that beach and we did a live video right in Thriving Sisters team page, the OG, the same page that I've had since I started it. And it was all of us just talking about the vision that they saw and what was painted for them and what this trip did for them. And like I told you last week, some of them were on their honeymoon of 20 years, and some of them were newlyweds, and some were recently divorced, and some were just their spouse let them come as a guest. And there were just lots of different walks of life there. My sister and her husband, who took his own life in May, he was there. You know, it's just crazy to me when I think back about that very first Cabo trip. But doing that live video was just insane to like hear the words that were coming out of my mouth. But here's where the tables turned. So y'all all know I worked in for the newspaper. Even though it was a small business, we were still considered corporate America. I mean, I still had to be at work on time at a certain time. I still got off at a certain time. I still had a certain amount of um, vacation and things like that that I had. I still was getting, the side eye if I took personal calls. Like it was a job, it was a job. And I sat there after I did that video and I just talked to Jesus. And I didn't talk it over with my spouse at the time. I didn't talk it over with my parentals at the time. I didn't talk it over with not even Susan. And mind you, Susan was my upline, but had turned into my best friend in a very, very quick way with this business because we both ran like ignorance on fire. We both were learning this business together. And so I didn't even confide in her. I remember finishing that video and wrapping it up. And I sat on that beach. I'll never forget. It was the Dreams in Cabo. And I said to myself, I'm going home and putting my resignation letter in. I'm not thinking twice about it. I am not happy. I know the potential that this has. And I thought to myself, if I've given this much, being a full time mom, a full time volunteer, a full time employee, and working this business part time, what could I do if I worked this business full time? What could I do? Like, I was thinking to myself, if I had extra time to pour into this team in my personal business and to travel here and go there and do this and do these things, plus, remember that torn up vision board, which by the way, I still have it. It's in the top of my closet. Now that I'm actually getting my life together and my office and stuff together, I'm going to bring those back out. But one of it was being a full-time mom, being home with Briley. Like that was something that even though my job was very good about allowing me to be a part of her things, it still was difficult. I still had to walk on eggshells. Like if I did ask off to go do this or do that, I still came back to work with like that, feeling. If you get it, if you know, you know. And so I thought, man, this is going to give me that freedom to be there for her. Mind you, she's 12 years old, so it wasn't like she was little, but she was so involved in everything. It's going to give me the opportunity to volunteer my time more because anything that Briley did, I ran it. Like that was what my life is consisted of, was my daughter. Um, by the way, that does kind of backfire on you. Let your kids spread their own wings when they fly when they're younger. Side note. But I just thought, I can do this. Lindsey, you can do this. You are worthy of this. And another thing, this is going to sound crazy, but I wanted to prove to others that I could do this. And I know that like you should do every decision for yourself. But for me, there was a lot of reasons behind this decision that I made. It was my old spouse. It was my parents. It was proving to my daughter. It was proving to myself, to my sister, to all the women in the world out there that live underneath like a shell of a man. And I'm not here to down anybody. This is my story. Did I make good money with the newspaper? Yes. But could I have been alone? I would have struggled. It would have been a mess. It would have been a fiasco. I could have done it and I would have done it. I've done it before. But that bold decision led to a living proof life. And so for me, this was the biggest turning point in the beginning of my business because never in a million years, if you would have asked me January 23rd, mind you, I bought on the 24th, January 23rd, that on May of 2014 in the same year that I would have walked away from my job, absolutely not. I would have never. I would have laughed in your face. I would have said, okay. There's no way. If you would have asked me the 25th, the day after I purchased, I never would have thought that either. I will tell you right now, I was a chicken shit. I wrote a resignation letter and I put it on my boss's desk. And here's why I did that. I don't advise anybody to do that, but this is why I did. I knew that if I looked at her face to face, she was going to talk me out of it. I knew it. I know I'd worked for them for quite some time and I would have thought twice about my decision. And so I, chicken pansy way, did it that way. And I know that that sounds terrible, but I had to do that for me. Because in a newspaper job, like with us with commissions and stuff, giving a 2 weeks notice is not really a thing that you do. Like most of the time in those positions, they let you go because they need to fill it as fast as possible. I don't think they would have talked me into staying, and I didn't want to. I knew that when I came back from Cabo, that trip, Briley was getting out of school, and because it was the end of May, and she was fixing to get out of school, and I was ready to take this business to the next level. I was just ready. There wasn't anything more that I would tell you that I did other than the fact that I was just busy. Busy people get things done. And I knew that in order for me to make this continue to happen and to prove to all of my haters, guys, my haters were my own family. And my mom sits in there, my dad is at his house. I promise you, my parents, not my mom, I'd have to say Gigi's just always like a hippie. She's like, go with the flow, do whatever happens. But my dad and grandparents and aunts and uncles thought I was crazy. I mean, I even remember my ex-husband being like, girl, I am not taking care of like you. Like you better make sure that you know what you're doing. And that was just like I said, that was a sign. That was Jesus. That was everything aligned at the because I knew that if I didn't get out, I wouldn't get out. But that was the turning point for me. It started with a trip, a free trip going to Cabo. Yes, do we earn these trips? Yes, we earn these trips. However, at the end of the day, I wasn't taking trips to anywhere. I told y'all that. I wasn't doing anything. So for me to know that my airfare got paid for and we were being put up in this, and that was my very first trip too, and I earned the VIP and had the opportunity to sit at the table with Missy Crimp and just some other sideline sisters and brothers and really got to know them. And that was when I saw Jason's heart was there. Like I saw it. Where they put us up at for that VIP dinner was like on the side of this mountain and the waves were crashing on us. And it was just all these moments that I took in that I was like, this is it. This is the real deal. Like I feel like I have connected my name with something that is here. And I am proud to say that almost 12 years later, I am still here. Are there ups and downs? Yes, we're going to get into that. Like I said, this story could go on forever, and I'm trying to push it forward. But these important moments of what changed the trajectory of my life, I feel like deserve their own little 20-minute segment because I want for you, it's just like if you watched our team Zoom last night, and like Katie Muntz said, I'm not going to look at my daughter and say, hey, by the way, mom failed. Didn't want to finish this business. So that's why we're living in this position. No, I wanted to say, and still to this day boldly, that I work this business because I don't want to go back to corporate America. I don't want to go back to somebody telling me what I can and cannot do. I don't want to have a position that I am scared to death if I'm going to come in and have a job the next day or walk on eggshells because y'all all know I'm a people pleaser. I know I can be a big B, but I'm a people pleaser, which means that at the end of the day, I'm one of the hardest working people, yet I get shit on all the time. And so I don't want to go back to that. And so now my why has changed. Obviously, it was Briley, it was making a difference there. It was getting out of a relationship that I felt like I was in because it was a comfort zone for me as a single mom. So it gave me that opportunity to be able to step out and have financial freedom for the first time in my life. For the first time in my life that I felt what financial freedom truly, truly was. And I did the same thing like Katie did. I made lots of money in the beginning and blew it, but I have no regrets on that because I didn't blow it on like Louis Vuittons. I have trips, I have memories, I have so much to look at and look forward. I mean, to look back at and think, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then I buckled down, obviously, but it was fun in the beginning because I didn't think twice about it. But I want to say to you tonight, number one, like I said last week, if you have the chance to go on a getaway, you have the chance to go on a retreat, you have the chance to do something with your team, do it. That will light your fire. It's just like this week, I was thinking, I always tell my team, keep your feet at the fire, keep your feet at the fire. It's the same thing with your Christian walk, too. If you're not reading your Bible and going to church and going to your Bible studies, which we call it our circle group, I was thinking to myself, it was the first time I'd been to church, totally off the subject, but it's on the same. This week was the first time in like 6 weeks because of what our life has been. And I thought to myself, this is exactly why people on our team don't have success because they don't keep their feet at the fire. It's the same way with me. I hadn't kept my feet at the fire, so I felt like the devil was just every time I turned around these last 6 to 8 weeks, I was getting hit with something, and it was my own fault. So I want to say to you, keep your feet at the fire. I don't know what the fire looks like for you. I know for me, first and foremost, it's being with my team. Do I think that we have great stuff that goes on all over this corporate? Absolutely. But I want to stay plugged in with what my team is doing first and foremost, working my business. And then if time allows, I'll go watch this Zoom or go listen to that call or go do this or go do that. Um, and that's what I've done from day one, guys. I've never closed the door on my Thrive business. It has been open from the day that I said, I'm signing up. Well, I didn't sign up as a promoter, but from the day that Susan's like, you want to earn $1,320? And I was like, well, yeah, let's go. And I've never closed it since then. Mind you, I've been through divorces, losses, heartaches, financial burdens. Like we've all been through it, but my Thrive business has never, ever, ever closed. And because I don't want to go back to corporate America, I refuse to do that. So I will keep this open sign on. I will show up on the hard days. I may not get that hard day may only be 10%, but that was 100% when you're struggling, right? But I want you to know one bold decision changed the entire trajectory of my entire life. My entire life. And I am not saying you need to go quit your job. I am not that what works for one doesn't work for another. I just know for me, I needed that bold decision to be able to move forward, to be able to make something out of this business. And I have no regrets whatsoever because what is to come on this journey will prove to you that taking that next step of faith is what built this business to a 200K, to $1 million team, to $1 million in commissions, to some huge, huge different bonuses, to building a team that I get to travel all over the world to and see because I took one bold step of faith and it just was there and it's living proof. And so tonight, I just want to remind you your bold step could be completely different, obviously. But go back and remember what it was at that turning point for you that said, I want to do this business. I'm in this business for this reason, and I'm not going to stop. That's why my feet is at the fire. So thank you guys. And just like Tammy says on here, bold decisions lead to a bold life. That is the truth. And I'm forever thankful for my worthiness of doing it and for a team that has been there by my side through thick and thin and family. That's the thing. I've gained a family through this too. So I am going now to close this out, call in on this call so that we have it. And then I'm going to actually go and do it live in the Thriving Sisters page. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. Next week, we're going to talk about what that next step did for me and how we became a 200K team. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye.